Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forged Lands Forever. Today I have a 6-player Phantom game. It's going to contain a lot of Navy and a lot of sneakiness from our Phantom. So let's go ahead and introduce our 6 players here. Starting at the 12 o'clock position here in Amethyst Purple. He is Winter Wonderland going first land as a UEF. I don't know what upgrade he has going on because it won't tell me right now. But he's getting an upgrade as we speak. Probably drone. Drone might be a good one. But we'll have to check back to see what he has done. The northeast in the 2 o'clock position, we have Androish going first land, which is now gone, as an Aeon in orange, the color orange. To his south, at the 4 o'clock position, we have Draklauser. Draklauser? Is that how you say that? Going first land as a Seraphim in Stitch Blue. In the 6 o'clock position, we have the player of Nick Zero Run going first land as an Aeon as well. And he is in Pac-Man Yellow. In the 8 o'clock position, we have the player of Overlord 1313. He is going first land as a Seraphim in Royal Purple. And last but not least here, for the game, we have the comm of Themo29. He was going first land as an Aeon, but has destroyed that facility and is now upgrading his mechs as we speak. So in terms of racial makeup for this game today, we have 2 Seraphim, 3 Aeon, and 1 UEF. No Cybrans at all in this game. There are the ability for these players to build hives, so everyone gets the ability regardless if you're Cybrans or not. If that wasn't the case, then everyone would build Cybrans, but they kind of figured that that would be kind of annoying if just everyone built Cybrans, so they gave it to all of the players. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit just so we can get the initial building going on. We don't know exactly, or at least our players don't know who exactly are the Phantoms here today. We have 2 of them, it looks like, with 1 Paladin. So it looks like in terms of ecos alone, Themo29 and Androish are the 2 Phantoms with Nick01. I think that's, I guess maybe Overlord 1313 is the Paladin. Paladin is pretty much just like a semi, it's like a semi-Phantom that's on the Innocent side. So we'll have 4 Innocents and 2 Phantoms this game, whereas the Phantoms I pointed out are Androish and Themo29, just due to their ecos alone. And of course, Overlord 1313 is right behind them. That would just indicate that he is the Paladin. I could be essentially wrong, and another player is doing exceptionally well with their own eco. But the goal of this intro section of, if you have not super familiar with Phantom, is to pretty much build a decent sized eco without tipping off early that you are a Phantom, or if you're an Innocent, you just build the eco as fast as you can. And one of the ways you do that is kind of trying to keep pace with everyone else. A lot of times in this stage, you're pretty much just focused on your island, or islands, I should say. But, you can see everything else that is going on in everyone else's island. So it's not hidden from anybody. It's more just, it's there, but no one's really fully paying attention. So it's just something for our players to focus on here. The efforts here to build out some power generators and building these hives. The strategy here is to build a bunch of hives on the edge of the island to help in producing naval facilities. There's even more hives building out 1313's comm. I think he's going T3, which yeah, there he is. Yep, he's building a power generator as we speak. It's not telling me the upgrades, and it's kind of annoying. 1 minute says Nick01, something about maybe that's why that was that pause. We are at almost 6 minutes now. It's not really. You can kind of see that both Themo and Androish are kind of following a very similar pattern here, building all of those hives on their respective islands. The same is going on here for Winter Wonderland. We have seen him on the in this channel before in a Phantom game, so let's see if his experience will pay off. The southeast, we have Dro. I'm going to call him Dro. Klauser, I think is how you say the last part, but I'll say Dro. It's be a lot easier for my brain and for my reputation if I don't just constantly pronounce somebody's name like all the time. But it does look like it is very so for a lot of our players. Essentially, obviously, the Phantom Zone. That's really what you want to be in. Is you want to be a little bit faster on everything as the Phantom, but not too fast. It's a balancing act. But you have to make it to 20 minutes. There was an issue in the past. The last match I called that it wasn't even revealed till like after 30 minutes, which is insane. But there were even players in the game being like, why is it not letting us know who the Phantoms are? But don't think there is an issue with this game as well. There is no desyncs, so that is always nice. I made sure I ran through the entire replay, of course, just to make sure that there's no... Because it sucks when you get like a really nice game going, you know, players are having a nice back and forth, and there's a desync halfway through, and you're like, well... There went that game. Can't cast that game. Because, you know, at the end of a game, if it's like a couple minutes before, it's not a huge issue. And because we have a Seraphim commander of Overlord 1313, and he's building Seraphim SACUs, the highlight mod will now circle all of them. So we'll see a bunch of circles here on the southwest side of the map, as well as on the southeastern side of the map. So... luckily, they are on the same team in terms of the innocence. Yeah, these are Aeon, so it won't do anything. UEF and Aeon. And I think Aeon at the bottom, right? Yeah, Aeon at the bottom. So it does look like the three main... well, I would say the three main leaders, but pretty much the 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock are Aeon. And then UEF and then 2 Seraphim. So we'll see a bunch of circles start to appear, but not a huge issue because I don't think these games are full share or even partial share. It's just once a player is gone, they're gone. So assassination is going to be a high valued thing for our players to focus on instead of just, you know, total annihilation. It's just assassination. But a bunch of engineers coming out here from Overlord down to the southern island, building out a bunch of these mass fabs. I don't know if that's the only reason why they're going down there. It is a lot. A lot of engineers. They're T2, so they can't build everything, but they can build a decent amount. There's a decent amount of build power there. But everybody just not leaving their islands as of yet. Haven't built any naval facilities quite as of yet. We are in almost 11-minute territory. So we should see them start to pop up in a few minutes because you don't want the last thing you want to be is have you as a Phantom be just totally defenseless once you're revealed. So you want some sort of naval presence, probably around the 13 to 15 minute mark. I feel like that's enough time for everyone to pretty much say, okay, I have enough eco. Because you can see Themo at 880, close to 900, and Droish at 900 mass a second. Followed close, not close, but semi-closely by Overlord 1313. So you can see that's a lot of mass. And at 12 minutes, man, I bet there are players in like regular FAF. They're like, oh, I wish I could get 900 mass a second, 12 seconds. That'd be crazy. But our players did start off with a small base. All of the mass points were already built. It just makes that part of the game a little faster. Then it's like, okay, now I have to build engineers and have them go everywhere and build all the mass extractors and whatnot. They just do that for you. So I do appreciate that. I think that's the first naval facility built. No, I guess there's one over here. A few of them over here. So T2 already been completed. Going straight to T3. Not even just worrying about it. Just going whoop. You can see the huge advantage of all of these hives, and they're just constantly producing these RASCOMs, supercharging the eco here for Themo. And that's essentially the point of, you know, having all these hives is for the build power. You do get, as the UEF, the access to the drones as well, so you get a double dip of both. But the hives are, I feel like, are far superior to the drones. A paladin has been marked. They no longer receive the bonus, so it does look like the Phantoms were able to correctly identify the paladin, and if he or she does get marked, they lose the bonus. So that definitely sucks, but at least they were able to use it for about 14 minutes, so not a huge issue there. it does tell me that the Phantoms are paying attention to what's going on and about the pace that all of the other players are on in terms of innocence. T3 has been achieved here for Drow. Still T1 here for Nick. Nick, you got to get up and running. Probably should have built up here where all your hives are, but I don't know why you're building back there. And we don't even have one online here for Winter Wonderland as of yet. He's going to build one right now, but he is surrounded by 2 Phantoms that he's going to be a prime target. You know, attacked from both sides. Doesn't really have a huge navy as of yet. We have T3 facilities coming online here, being spammed up here for Themo. The East, same thing over here, except they're all T2. And hasn't gone T3 yet. Kind of surprising. You want to pump out those Omens and those missile ships. Kind of surprising they're not already built yet, but we'll see here. Yeah, they're just going to produce a bunch of the... I think these are aircraft carriers, the ones in the back. Ones in the front. Still haven't been given the order yet. That is the best way to produce air in the game, of course. In Phantom is build a bunch of aircraft carriers and just spam them up inside those little hangars of them. And not build actual air grids because you need the land space. There's not a lot of land in this game. I feel like it's like 80 or so percent water, and most of that land is taken up by somebody else's base or somebody else's structures and whatnot. So you really don't have a lot of land mass to really go with. To the east, we see more T3 facilities being spammed up here by Androish. He has T3 Navy and is pumping out aircraft carriers as fast as he can. He's at 17 minutes. T3 has been achieved for Winter Wonderland. He needs to get some sort of naval presence online or he's going to be caught with his pants down, essentially. To the southeast, we have a bunch of Rascoms here. What is his eco at? 1.3. He's almost caught up to the Phantom players of this game. So this will be a nice target if the Phantoms decide to work together. And a bunch of Rascoms to the southeast are pushing up against this front line. A experimental has been built. It is Atlantis. Well, if you're not going to go for a lot of naval presence and go for experimentals, that is a way to do it with with UEF. And now he's teleporting. I wonder where he's going. I mean, you're not going on the main base. I don't really know where I don't see the teleport icon be anywhere, honestly. Where are you? Oh, he's gone. Where did he go? I'm going to pause it for a second. Where did he go? Oh, he went down here. Okay, so he's going to go down here. I guess he's like, oh, I figured these 2 are the Phantoms. He's like, I am out of here. So he's going to probably defend as much as he can up north, but we'll probably have to build a residual base down here in any event. I do like the foresight on Winter Wonderland's position there. He's like, not good, going to move, see you, bye, and then leaves. Going to build some units just to stave off any incoming threat, and then does look like the the alliance has been broken against Winter Wonderland here for Androish. Let's look at his can we not look at his? There we go. You can see they can only see the other Innos. So right before the break, or right before the reveal, the break has commenced. So we'll drop this back down to regular speed so we get all the nice juicy action. Oh, keep pausing it. It's not what I meant to do. Observer. Hit the wrong button. But they're going after the T3 naval facility, trying to block the production of more and more battleships. There's only a couple of Rascoms. They've been given the order to retreat. 3 of these Tempests are being built fairly quickly, and more are already on the way. In the south, we have a bunch of destroyers going after, looks like T1 subs, as well as some torpedo launchers. So trying to stave off the incoming threat here to the east for Drow. The Innocents not really looking super hot. Of course, the Phantoms are fairly powerful early on. It does take a while for the the Innocents to kind of come into their own. We already have Rascom explosions. Don't freak me out there. But we have T2 artillery. All these clean cameras. That is a good counter to a bunch of battleships, especially because they are very slow to move. Something that the southern team should have dealt with in the last game. But a bunch of reinforcements here from Themo come in and just annihilate the northern side of that island here for Winter. Winter pretty much effectively out of the combat for now. one Atlantis, and that is it. The mass exodus of experimentals of support ACUs are on the way, and now are they just ground firing? No, they're just going after. Okay, I thought they were ground firing those Rascoms. I'm like, are you serious? But no, they're not doing it. And just mass producing these Tempests as fast as they can here for Androish. Destroyers keep pushing that eastern line here for him as well. The Phantoms are gaining a lot of ground. They almost control the entire northern side of the map. They have, you know, obviously the rest of Winter's base to be dealt with. But to the west, we have a little bit more of a pushback against the incoming red threat of Themo. Overlord 1919 is trying to hold as best he can. He has a couple of these Hathum destroyers. Nick builds an experimental. He is an Aeon. I would assume it's a Tempest, and it is. That's going to do a lot to stave off this incoming destroyer threat. Pretty much one shot should kill one destroyer. Yep, it's a one-shot kill, so very quick will be able to help in that defense. More and more torpedo launchers, more and more battleships are coming off that line. Overlord trying to hold them the best he can in the west. Couple of some Rascoms here in the middle meet up with some Rascoms here from Winter. But now the Rascoms are under threat from a bunch of T2 sub-hunters out here from Androish. Androish is going to constantly just, you know, exert his pressure on the game. And even a couple of these Rascoms here from Themo are going to claim that island. Is he doing anything funky in his main base? No, not yet. We are at 22 minutes. Building a bunch of more ships as we speak. Doesn't say Team 2, but the Innocent team, how we looking? Well, they're holding off the destroyer threat in the south. They're even spreading out all of their Tempests, ensuring that they have a multiple production facilities. The players have been revealed. I appreciate the game for telling us they have been revealed. Unfortunately, the players revealed themselves, essentially, so didn't want the game to do it, so they just decided to do it for me. I thought there was more of a chat, but I am mistaken, which is really weird. I thought while I was like scanning through the game, there's more of a conversation between our players, but I guess there wasn't this game. But yeah, these Rascoms in the middle, not doing very well, and they're trying to build torpedo launchers, trying to be effective, but there's just too much pressure, and it really won't amount to a whole lot, unfortunately, here for Winter. He did get out of there when he had the chance to, so good on him for noticing what was going on. We have the battleships here for Overlord trying to hold off. They've done a lot of damage to the battleships here from Themo. They've even, again, starting to constantly spam up these T1 torpedo launchers, trying to do whatever they can to hold off a couple of groups of torpedo bombers from the skies, targeting the Rascoms in the water. And it does look like some of his forces will start to retreat here from the west. And in the middle, it's just not really looking good. Ground firing, and of course targeting the torpedo launchers on the water surface, not really going well. All of those, it's just not going well. It does look like Team 2. I keep saying Team 2. I might as well just say Team 2. But the the Innocents, have some sort of breathing room on the eastern side. The western side, not so much. The eastern side, they have a little bit. We have Androish not pushing the advantage quite yet. He does have a huge advantage here with a bunch of T2 subs. He can just throw at his opponent. Of course, for those of you that are not familiar with Phantom, if you are Phantom Wars or Phantom X, or I think that's the mod, you cannot win as a group of Phantoms, so like a Team 2 or Team 3 group of Phantoms. You have to win individually. So eventually we'll see our Phantoms turn on one another. And so it's all about when is the right place to strike, because if you strike too early, the Innocents have a chance to come into the game and kill you. But if you wait too long, there's a chance that one Phantom has far exceeded the capacity of the other one and will just wipe the floor. So it's all about when is the right time to strike. All of that plasma takes out 2 battleships back to back. Look at that. Another one just eviscerates that last one. The Navy is pretty much gone here for Overlord 1313. Producing a bunch of bombers. He even has a nuke here and is building just more and more ships. And he even has a couple of Azars as well. But Overlord is defeated here by Themo. And it looks like he was in the water right here. It was obviously, it's kind of hard to keep track of all of the different where exactly his combos, but it was right here. And all of that will die off. It is a partial share game. Last game I broadcasted it was a no-share game. But partial is better than nothing. So Nick 01 will inherit a lot of the mass. Unfortunately, he won't get it for very long. Gets a couple of the infrastructure, but that's really about it. And now Nick 01 will have to take care of this western side, and we'll have to leave it up to Drow to take care of the eastern side. Essentially, 2 players have been knocked out for the Innocents, that being Winter and Overlord, who has died. First player of the match to die at 25 minutes. Does look like Winter does have a small base up here to the north, but I don't think that's really going to last very long, unfortunately. Let's see, is anybody building an artillery this early? Sometimes some Phantoms build some quite early, but it is focusing more on the naval side of things. To the west, just more and more facilities just get eradicated. But 4 Tempests on that western side will be a hard nut to crack with all of these omens. It can be done, but it will take a while, unfortunately, here for the player of Themo. And to the east, the horde, the absolute horde of T2 bombers, T2 torpedo launching submarines are just annihilating whatever they can within range. Shields. There's a couple of sub-hunters in here underneath these Yasso, underneath shield covers, trying to do what they can. But they're the focus. The shields are down. There goes one of them. There goes another one. They're trying to stack on top of it. And Drow just control case saying, I'm done. I'm giving up. He wasn't out of the game quite yet, but I guess he just was kind of fed up with playing. He didn't have a lot, and all of that will go up in smoke, which is weird because some of that... Did he just control K everything? Weird, because these facilities were definitely under control of Nick before they were destroyed. He was control K everything. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, now it's essentially just Nick and some assistance from Winter, and that is it. I'd say at this point, maybe it's time to strike for both of these Phantoms to go at it. The Innocents are pretty much stuck in a small sector of the map, so they can't really go very far. It does look like, there are some cruisers being built up here for Nick 01 to have some sort of anti-air presence, but it's not a huge concern for him. But a bunch of these T2 Vespers are just annihilating this Tempest, though. Even if it were to go underneath the water surface, it doesn't really matter. There are torpedo launchers being built here trying to do something. They're killing some slowly, but it's death by 1,000 cuts, and that death by 1,000 cuts is coming fairly quickly. Anything going on the base here for our orange player? Not so much. I don't see any artillery or any other nonsense, but it does look like the alliance has broken for our Phantoms here. You can see, cannot see anything on that western side. At 28 minutes, the Phantom War has begun, and there's a Paragon. A 28-minute Paragon. That is pretty good. Look at all these hives. Look how tall that stack is. Look at that. Look, I can't even hold them all. It's like, is this enough hives? Building. This is crazy. Look at all of them. That's so many. That's so many hives. I don't think you have enough hives. You need to build more hives. I think in this instance there could be a thing as too many hives, but you can't fault them for it. You're playing Phantom. This is like a it's like a feast. You just gorge yourself on it. I guess it's more of a buffet. You just gorge yourself on everything. Like, oh, you want to build like 200 hives? Why not? You want to build like 300 T2 torpedo bombers and launch them at the enemy? Why not? You want to build like 1,000 omens? Why not? Like, there is an economic thing you have to weigh, but really, especially if you're a Phantom, why not, right? But it does look like units are regrouping here to this western side. This is the main threat here against Androish. Androish, though, unfortunately, has way more forces with all of these Tempests in tow. This will give time for Nick to just kind of lick his wounds. He has sided with the Phantom to the west here of Themo, trying to just stave off any incoming threat here from him. So it's now 2 versus 1 as of right now. They both view the orange player of Androish as the biggest threat in the game. And Nick is just thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to survive here for now. It's a lot better than, dying off really quickly. Because the Phantoms could just go after all the innocents, kill them off, and be done with it, and then attack each other. But isn't really tactically sound. You could use the innocents to your advantage. But this huge naval fleet here for Andros is just punishing everything that Themo has. How close is that? It's already... was that a 2-minute Paragon, 3-minute Paragon? That I think is one of the fastest Paragons I have ever seen. It is done now. Themo, any Phantom game has built a Paragon. The structure that allows you to build a limitless supply, or so have a limitless supply of resources. And now there's no limitation on what he can build. So with any amount of build power, he can build pretty much anything. He has one nuke. I would like to see that nuke maybe used against some of this naval force. Like right here, you could take out, I mean, not necessarily the Tempest, but a bunch of Omens right here. And in the middle of the map where all those Rascoms went to die, there's more and more Omens appearing here for Themo. Themo looking to have the advantage, but there's, again, obviously more and more over there on that other side. Lots of ships are dying. Lots of mass for all of our players to scoop up. Nick's thinking about getting engaged to that combat. We do have a drop here to the east here from Andros, trying to scoop up mass, or at least just trying to drop some like secondary base units off. Not going to say it's a good thing that the Seraphim are dead, but the fact that both Seraphim players are gone means there's no Seraphim SACUs, which means I don't have a bunch of highlights on the map so I can see where the comms are. But the nuke is dropped, and wait, is he still alliant? Oh, did he do the sneaky thing? Okay, he broke the alliance before he did it. Okay, I was like, is he going to do the sneaky thing of like just nuking him? But the nuke is thrown, and his opponent to the south, will it land? I don't think it will. There is a couple of anti-nukes loaded. So there's only one nuke that he had at the time, Themo, so it's not going to go quite as well as you would want to. But it's building fairly quickly. Again, all those... Oh, my goodness, all those hives. It's crazy. Now it is a all-out brawl. Does Andros team up with Nick? Yes, he does. He switched alliances. Nick is the middleman here, being like, oh, who's going to pay me more? Are you going to pay me more? I'll join you. Oh, you're going to pay me even more? Okay, I'll join you. And looks like it's just a bidding war for Nick and Wonderland down here in the south. Nick is starting to build up a decent size of Omens and a couple of Tempests as well, but he's just obviously lacking in just the available eco. Themo, the numbers are very skewed because of that Paragon, but as the rules of Paragon go, once you build one, the first thing you do is you build a second one, or you just build like 50 artillery and call it good there. But he's building Salvations as we speak, and he's going to build 3. He's going to build 2 Paragons side by side. That's not the best idea, but it's an idea. We had a couple of drops, and they get the Paragon. Nick 01 teleports some, I'm assuming they were Rambo preset commanders or something, into the main base here of Themo, and they kill off that Paragon. It's awesome that I caught that on video. Sometimes I miss those things, but I was glad that I was looking at it at the time, because those things happen almost in an instant. But good on him. Use that opportunity, teleports him in, deal the blow to the Paragon. Not to say that he doesn't have any, eco. He has 1.8k mass. Oh, well, 2.7 k mass a second. That's a lot of mass a second. But the Zars are falling to the ASF and AA pressure here from Andros. They're trying to land on top of the Tempest, though they will kill a Tempest. So they will kill... The Zar will kill a Tempest. Another one lands. There's one more Zar, it looks like. It's going to try to laser as much as it can. Will it be enough? No, it's not enough. And that Tempest will live to fight another day. Lots of experimentals, lots of mass. The last Phantom game I casted, there was like 30 or something Zar at one time. It's the main thumbnail for the video. It is just not scary, but it's kind of scary to think about that many Zars just legitimately just glassing the map, just being like, yep, everything in the way, just glass, just plasmaing it to death. But the alliance has broken once again. Maybe Themo is gonna pair up with Nick once again. So it's just constantly flip-flopping between Andros And Droish and Themo. And Nick is, again, the free agent with Winter Wonderland support. He's just building up a support facility for him. He has a T3 facility. He's building. He has a couple of quantum gateways, pumping in some RASCOMs. That's his only way to come back into the game economically. But now the Salvations are raining in. They will take a little bit to chew through the shields, but once they're chewed through, then all those beautiful little facilities will be, they've just exploded. Like once one of the main ones dies off, that's pretty much it. I'm waiting. I feel like this would be a lot faster. Oh, these are mass storages. Okay, I thought these were These are mass fabs. I was like, why aren't they exploding? But the T3 mass fabricators should explode, and once they do, the rest of this facility will go up in smoke. The shields can't withstand that power of magnitude, and now all of those go up, and a couple engineers die in the process as well. To the west, ASFs have landed, and unfortunately for them, are being eviscerated by the Omens and Destroyers here for Themo. I never even went over ratings for this game. We have everywhere between 1,000 for Themo and 1,900 for Overlord, who is currently dead. And a couple 1,400 to 1,500 for Nick, and a 1,200 here for Drow. So a decent grouping of players, not one player severely ahead. But I guess Overlord was, but he's now dead, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But the rapid fire artillery installations here for the Aeon are fairly effective. You can see they just murder shields. They just don't fire. They just don't stop firing. Constantly fire. You're gonna get a bunch of RASCOMs here, and that's gonna hurt Androish's eco. He can take out the quantum gateways. You need landmass in order to produce RASCOMs. It's just you can't just call them out of thin air. A couple of RASCOMs go up in smoke. The other mass fab form goes up in smoke as well. He does have an Apocalypse nuke launcher online, but isn't really prioritizing it. He is now, but he wasn't earlier. The Tempest is out in the open. Omens and Destroyers opening fire has dropped below 10,000 hit points. It's up 5,000, 4,000, and it is gone. How much mass is currently on the field? Oh, I wonder. Maybe, let's say, 500,000? No. No. 1.2 million mass currently on the field. That is like 6 Paragon. Almost 6 That's almost 6 Paragons. Sorry, 5. Almost 5 Paragons. Doing math wrong. 250,000. At least I think it's 250,000. To the west, though, there's another Salvation. They're building another Paragon. That's not a good place to put your Paragon, is right next to your artillery. Not a good place. He was only able to get 2 online. But there is a sneaky little RASCOM just kind of walking around, scooping up some mass, just kind of getting a nice little view of what's going on over there. We do see now a naval presence here from Winter. He's building a bunch of T1 frigates to kind of use as cannon fodder. And they just get eviscerated by Omen shots. Look at all those Omens. Look at them just fire on those frigates. A lot of them do miss, though, because those frigates are pretty small. But once they collide, it's pretty much just, game over for those frigates. 2 shots and they're dead, essentially. Direct fire. See, this is an instance where having the T2 destroyers of the Seraphim are very effective. It's direct fire. You can't miss direct fire unless you're going from one target to another. If the target is in range, of course. They're just annihilating everything. Look at all these Omens. How many Omens are on the field for Androish? I wonder. 60. There are 60. And how many... The main unit here for Themo. He really doesn't have a lot of units. Has a squadron or so of some Shocker T3 strap bombers. I wonder where these are going. He's just going to group them up over here. So we'll see what happens with that. We're at 38 minutes, everyone. Of course, this is going to go over an hour, so please grab a drink, get some popcorn or snacks. Or I like beef jerky and like high protein snacks, like beef jerky, for example, or like there's like these like not protein bars. What are they called? They're beef sticks, essentially. They're like beef jerky, but they're beef sticks. My wife bought some for me a couple weeks ago, and I love them. They're amazing. Lots of protein, and they're not just like empty calories or anything. It's a lot. There's a lot of protein in them, so that's what I like to eat sometimes when I don't want to eat a full meal. I just want like something hearty to keep me over for a couple hours or so. A couple of beef sticks do the trick. Bombing runs over the top, going after some omens. At this point, you're just tickling the omens. You're not really doing a whole lot of damage. Yeah, you can slowly whittle them away, but you need probably 4 times the amount of bombers in the air. And now we just have artillery focusing on the infrastructure. A lot of the naval facilities to the south have been taken out for Androish. Not something he can easily just go build again. He can do that. It's just reducing the ability of your opponent to produce units. And now the artillery is focusing fire on Nick. And now this is going to hurt this. A lot of hives should call these two hives, at least some of them, to call to assist these shields. They're actually direct firing the hives specifically, trying to take out the build power. That's an interesting move here from Themo. It wants to reduce the ability of his opponent to, rapidly produce Rascoms. Because you never stop. In Phantom games, you never stop producing Rascoms, ever. Did Androish team up with the Innocents? No, that he has not. Themo has now teamed up with him as well, so it's now the Phantoms versus the Innocents once again. Constantly, the alliances are shifting all the time. I think Themo did that so he can finish building his Paragon. Let's see, it's just going to crest over 75% complete. Bombers over the top. We have a couple of Tempests in defense. There's a lot of destroyers here. They will be taken out fairly quickly by these Omens and these Tempests. There's a lot of frigates here and a couple of summits here for winter as well. The Team 2 not completely defenseless, building Tempests all the time. That is their main goal. I don't know what's going on down here with a bunch of engineers, but something's going on down there. They're just lying in wait. But the shields are still holding for the rest of these hives, though, not willing to risk the destruction of the build power. Biplanes over the top get a nice good view of what's going on that southern portion of the map. Does look like... Oh, they're taking out the air units here for winter. Themo is just hiding with all of his hives, building a lot of SAM sites to help protect him against any air threats. To the east, the Calm of Androish is back in his main production facilities with all of the T3 naval factories anybody who loves the Navy would love, and even has 3 Tsar to the north. That Atlantis is still online after so long. It's still online, and it's actually out of the water as well. And I feel like this Atlantis is not long for this world. 3 lasers come in to deal with it. I don't know if it swam all the way over here. I don't think so, and it's just annihilated. I think it was just sat there for a while, untouched, but doesn't last very long because there's no way they couldn't have not noticed that swim all the way up there. So, and he's not currently building anymore as we speak. But the Salvation still can't puncture those shields, staying online as best they can, not trying to go down in the face of overwhelming odds. Though those Omen are coming in for an engagement here. Let's get a nice little screenshot, nice little view of all those Omens coming in. Look at them all. Look at all those Omens. I hear Rascoms exploding in the distance. Look at all the incoming plasma fire for Team Phantom. There are a couple of Tempests in there that will outrange the Omens, of course, and they deal a lot of damage. And essentially, this game is just Aeon with a little bit of a UEF. That's it. The Seraphim are both gone. And that might make a difference for Team 2, that they have access to Aeon tech with the Maver and the Summits, Novaxes, that sort of thing. But if the Phantoms build more and more Paragons, it really doesn't matter. Because we're talking about essentially an infinite resource game with even more infinite resources access with the Paragon. And if you have multiple Paragons, it's not essentially game over, but you just build power and you don't have to worry about anything else. It does look like the Phantom Omens are getting slowly closer and closer to that front line, that main island here for Nick. The Tempests are holding the line, though. They're actually being deployed as a secondary line of defense, and they are super tanky. There's a large group of Omens here that they can easily target and get a lot of AoE damage on. But once they come, once those Tempests are targeting them, like this one right here, you can hit at least 3 battleships right here just in the middle of that. But I feel like it's more of Nick has other priorities he's trying to focus on. It's a lot of microing, and now even units here from the west have broken that western perimeter, and now getting into the back line here for Team Innocence. And there's more explosions going on. I hate it. I hate when I zoom in and I miss something. But it doesn't. Both Phantoms are just hanging out, not really worrying about it a whole lot. Destroyers focusing on the T3 facilities here, just trying to reduce the ability of their opponent to produce more units. And honestly, that is a good idea, except when your opponent is essentially building exclusively experimentals. That really doesn't matter. And in the south, those engineers are just still hanging out over there. But the shield will not come offline. It will stay online as much as it can. It can't. These two artillery cannot puncture the shield enough to get it to come offline. T1 spam is now the name of the game here for Nick. Gonna come assist these Tempests, relieve them a lot of that incoming fire. Sending these beacon class frigates in. You see a lot of the shots are missing. They do hit the frigates, of course, but the Tempest, because they're super tanky and have a lot of firepower on them, if the Omens miss 4 or 5 shots per frigate, that's a lot of incoming damage that is mitigated for these Tempests, which means they can stay online even longer. One of them does fall. Another one will fall here. Another one's falling. They're building them, of course, all the time. Another one comes online. There's 5 in kind of a star formation over here. Another one about to fall. It does look like they are prioritizing one target over the other. But these frigates are starting to just be a nuisance here for Androish. He has more and more Omens on this eastern side. The Tempests are actually moving in to cover the line of Tempests that were destroyed earlier. And now there's a couple of Omens and a bunch of frigates coming in on this eastern side to help assist and alleviate that pressure. I don't see the Phantoms breaking up as we speak. They have a lot of riding on just dealing with these Innocents. They feel like if Nick stays online long enough, they might actually win the game. There's no conversation. That's kind of frustrating. The only thing I got was from Nick, which was probably 1 minute, was about that pause at the beginning of the game. To the west, not as much pressure coming out for Themo, which begs the question, what is Themo doing? He has a bunch of Corsairs and more Omens coming in all the time. Not Corsairs, cruisers. But there is a grouping here of units. They're scooping up mass and building a more Tempest in the middle. But see, on the outset, it looks like Nick is just screwed. But when you zoom in and you see 4 Tempests in a line, these Omens are just a pressuring threat here. And there's still more coming in all the time. But I think that's the last main group of Omens. So once Nick deals with this, he'll have a little bit of a rest period. He can build up some more Tempests and more shielding and more everything for, well, everything. But these Rascoms are not stopping, and you can see, look at how fast they produce those Tempests. What was that, 15, 20 seconds? And it's done. It's insane. It is insane how fast they're producing these units. And they're producing them just about as fast as they are dying. And the Omens are not replenishing as fast, which means essentially all Nick has to do is just say, okay, build 30 Tempests, and by the time most of mine die, all of the Omens will be gone. Look at all that incoming fire. Just 8,000 hit points per shot against those Omen class battleships from these Tempests. So essentially we're talking about 6 shots without any regen, and that is a kill. That's just a lot of firepower. This one almost dead. There's a couple of them almost dead as well. Getting a little AoE explosion, gets that one. We even had some Rascoms here on some reclaim duties. Gonna soak up the mass. What is the mass total on the map currently? It was at 1.2 million. It's now at 990,000. So a lot of the mass has been scooped up by our players, probably mostly by our Phantoms. Yeah, 800,000, 700,000. Almost a million and a half mass between both of the Phantoms in this game. Themo at 3,000 mass a second. Let me just scoot over really quickly to see how the Paragon is going. Well, he stopped building it. Doesn't want to finish it. I think he doesn't want to finish it in fear of someone going after it and it exploding, which is very fair. So, because it pretty much essentially releases a nuke when it dies, so not really the best thing for artillery to sit next to. But now a wave of T2 sub-hunters. Team 2 is not prepared for this. I think they're going to target the... They're targeting the Tempest or they're targeting the Rascoms? I don't know. I think they're targeting the Tempest. Well, all of those torpedoes just eradicating those hit points on the Tempest. That Tempest dies, and it had a lot of veterancy too. This one is a 4-star as well, and its hit points are just falling like gravity. Will not stop falling. There they go. There's another one that's being focused down. This eastern side here for Nick is starting to fall. The western side has been pushed back severely, and even, of course, there's a lot of summons to help assist. The Tempest on this western side have dealt with all of the Omens here to the north and are now going to pressure all of these units here to the east. There's even a couple of Omens here for Nick as well, but just look at all of these units. Just they're facing down the barrel of a gun on both sides. The Tempests have fallen on the eastern side, but is it enough? This frigate's being spammed up constantly, trying to distract all of these units, especially the Omens specifically, but all of these torpedoes. And Themo gets killed up by Androish. A bunch of Tsars just land on top of him. He tries to escape, and a lot of the pressure here for Nick will be relieved. Everything dies because he doesn't have a team to give it to. And I swear that maybe Nick built. No, it wouldn't make sense that Nick built those. But everything on this western side dies. The Paragon that was almost built dies. The Salvations. So the shields still, they were eventually cracked. But unfortunately, this is the last of the volleys. So he will be able to rebuild those soon. To the east, these sub-hunters, these Vespers, just look at them. Look at all the torpedoes just annihilating those hit points. A 5-star Tempest, you know, regenerating at 125 hit points a second, cannot keep up. And like I say in some of my other videos, if you have a million of anything, it will kill anything. So in this case, if you have a million sub-hunters, it will kill anything. But they are being ground fired, and they are fairly weak, so a couple of shots, even though they're, you know, a decent ways underneath the water. Actually, no, not that far off the water, though. But they are being ground fired, which means that they not essentially are targeted, but if they get hit by an AoE explosion, they die. The Tempest being the most, obviously the largest bolt of plasma, largest AoE explosion. A lot of them are starting to fade, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Nick just spam out T1, T2 torpedo launchers as a result of this. Arms would be very useful here, of course, with the Cybran, but no one's Cybran, so don't have access to those. But a nuke has been launched here from the Apocalypse launcher, and now another nuke, so a couple of nukes stored up here for Androish. Wouldn't be surprised to see they are going after the Navy to the west. Don't know where the other one is going. They're just both landing in the same location. That's not really worth it if they're both going to the same place. But it looks like these Rascoms were caught out. Will they all land? One of them gets killed off, but the other ones will land. So there are 3 apiece. 6 of them landed. So 8, 3, 6, 9. Yeah, 18 will land. This nuke will land, taking out a bunch of Rascoms and a couple of battleships. This one will pretty much just kill frigates and some some NGs, and that's about it. But now a lot of breathing room on this eastern side. There's still more Omens. But they're not being called in. They're holding off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Tempests, and a couple of them still coming online in the back. Here for the Phantom, I should say, you know, a Phantom in Team 2 essentially. The Innocents still has a lot of submarines to the west, but that early Paragon pretty much did not work for Themo. Wanted to produce a whole lot of resources fairly quickly, which would work, but in a game like this, when you have access to a bunch of, you know, Rascoms or, you know, teleporting commanders, whatever the case may be, not the best. They didn't have tele defense essentially, and that's why it exploded. But there are a couple more Rascoms going on the Star Lifter to the west. A couple of them are making landfall. The artillery from the Tempest are just hammering them down. They're building a bunch of SAM sites here. They're scooping up the Paragon. That's what they went for, were the mass from those Salvations and the Paragon. Both of those Rascoms are destroyed. But that will supercharge Nick's eco for a little bit. How's his mass bar doing? Well, it is full, so he's got to spend it as fast as he can. I mean, he could go for his own Paragon, but I feel like that's honestly that actually isn't the play, because if that explodes, that takes out half of your base, or if you're on a small island, all of your base. It's actually not worth it. The attack order's still been given. Okay, Nick, there's nothing here anymore. You can stop firing. But all of the frigates are moving into the west to intercept the sub-hunters and, of course, the Tempest as well. Shields, looks like the Rascals have finished the Paragon and are dealing with the Salvation as we speak, and orders have been given here to the west to build redundant facilities to produce even more units. All of these sub-hunters trying to take out the facilities here for Winter. Winter has still that little base here, has a couple of SMDs, some SAM sites, some hive stations, a couple of T2 point defense for some tele defense. I do like that move, but look at how fast they kill off Rascoms. How much is a Rascom worth per second? 11, so that's 11 mass per second. That just evaporates. Which, what is that? A little bit better than a T2 fully ringed mechs. So, yeah, that's not too bad. Especially when you can build a lot of them fairly quickly, kind of thing. But the Omens are going to start taking a bunch of punishment here to the east. We still have 4 or 5 online. There is a Tempest in the rear doing some fire maneuvers, but it does look like the frigates are just going to push forward. They don't care about these T2 sub-hunters. The frigates have no defense against them, and so a lot of these frigates are going to be thrown away. But I think there's a mix of destroyers in there as well. They have their own torpedo defenses built on their ships, so they'll be able to target the sub-hunters to the west. It does look like the Tempests are falling back. There's enough Omens and, of course, the Assistant Tempest to kind of not fully commit, but it's enough to be like, I'm going to wait a little bit. The middle lane here for Nick is open for the taking, and I think maybe Androish will push something through it. I don't know. There's a lot of battleships here for both players on the Innocence team, and even more T1 torpedo launches being spammed up, trying to do what they can. They'll take out some of these torpedo launchers, but torpedo launchers, the sub-hunters. A lot of them are being diminished. It's taking a while, but slowly but surely, again, death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. To the northeast, we have a couple of explosions. That was from earlier from those salvations. 2 nukes. One of them is almost loaded. One of them is actually, both of them are almost loaded. What is the ecos like? Well, Androish is at 3.7k. Nick is at 2.3 with Winter at 477. So Nick is definitely the sure threat for Androish to take out. And now, again, a lot of that pressure has been alleviated on that eastern side. Androish not pushing with a whole lot. He has not a whole lot left. A lot of them are just, either on the front lines, kind of just scattered, not really coordinated. He has his sub-hunters, which he's focusing, but he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Tempest to the west with a Tsar, maybe even more than one. Looks like just one, but it could be more stacked on top of each other. The Rascoms to the west were dealt with, but they sucked up all of that mass from the Salvation and Paragon. Another, penetrating attempt here from Nick to, I don't know what he's doing, distracting the Tempests, going after the sub-hunters with destroyers, I guess, is his idea. But there's just so many torpedoes, it really doesn't matter. He needs his own sub-hunters to really deal with this. More Rascoms are coming onto the island. I guess it's just a distraction for Androish, I would assume. Nick is just trying to use them as a way to, tax his opponent's APM. But now more battleships are coming online to the east. There's only 5 more Tempests. Not a lot of Rascoms to mass produce them. We have a line of torpedo launchers and another, I think this one is stuck. Yeah, that one might be stuck. But who cares? It's just going to sit there. And I think these ones are stuck. Yes, well, the line of facilities trying to produce units has caused some pathing issues here for Team 2. But it does look like Winter's getting fairly back in the game. It's not all T3. There's a lot of T1. decent amount of destroyers as well. Actually, these are torpedo boats, so these will help counter the sub hunters. Again, just Rascoms. I wish they would change that noise because it sounds like a comm dying. But I will speed it up probably just to 1 because it is kind of just slow. So I'll speed it up a little bit. Another nuke lands. Not really the best placement here. It might clip a couple Rascoms. But this one still, they're not targeting. They're targeting things that are moving. And they're targeting things that aren't really that much of value. Yeah, you're softening up the front line. But you're not really doing a whole lot. Like the first nuke will land. Oh, it'll clip a Tempest and a couple of Rascoms. 1 Rascom, and we'll finish off that Tempest. The second one will take out a couple of the destroyers and no Rascom. So essentially 2 nukes for a partially destroyed Tempest and 1 Rascom and a couple of destroyers. Not really worth the 2 nukes. You want to wait for nukes. Obviously, it's hard to kind of judge everything, but you want to wait for the nukes, especially in Navy, to group up and not move. Like here would be a good position to dump like 2 or 3 nukes, because you could get one here and you can get one here, and it deals with a lot of omens and a lot of the hit points for those Tempests. But the eastern front is where Androas wants to push. He has 4 more Tempests here to the west. He's not really pushing on the far western side, though. His Tempests are still kind of waiting, but he's not pushing. He has a huge amount of forces here. He could just start annihilating this western side, but decides not to. Saving them for reserve, maybe, I don't know, but giving your opponent time to rebuild and build more and more facilities is not really the best idea here. Because essentially, oh, another nuke lands, and lands farther back, maybe going for these summits. But the summits will probably move out of position. The omens pushing forward, trying to think that maybe they'll fall back, but or just tie up these summits' pathing issues. And some of them do stop, to be fair, to target these units. And the nuke will land. It'll probably get 4. Kaboom. Targets hits 1 and a line of Rascoms. That was definitely worth it for the Rascom kills. But not as much destruction in terms of firepower in the Navy. All of the Tempests are gone. So many, so many. There's just so many of these. Look at them all. Look at them all. There's so many donuts in the water. So many omens. Just an insane amount. That's why I like watching and casting Phantom games, because there's just so much Navy. I love it. These are all summits. I would like to see a couple just Neptunes kind of just thrown in there for good measure. But these omens are just, look at all the hit points, and it's gone. Summits are really good in Navy. His eastern side is going to be a tough nut to crack for Team 2. I keep saying Team 2 because they're in the south. But for the Innocents, are they still firing? Are you guys still? You guys are still firing. You're killing your own units, by the way. And will this destroy and make it out alive? Yep. Will not stop firing. No desyncs yet. There won't be any desyncs, luckily. Anything on this island going on? Nope. Just kind of hanging out. There's a stealth field gen. Just constantly building Rascoms. Because you can't stop, won't stop. Needs more. Maybe, what's down here? There's a nuke here. It's building as we speak. A lot of hives. And an SMD as well. A Tempest goes down again. All this, how many Tempests are online here for Androish? 24 Tempests. And do we have any ones? We have absolutely just one Tsar. So he does have the presence to just push the enemy line, but just doesn't want to. He wants the enemy to come to him. And in the instance of Phantom, maybe he's just distracted with other things because he's not pushing his advantage on this eastern side. Starting to push on the western side a little bit. A lot of these torpedo boats, these sub-hunters are kind of being called off to the east. There's a bunch of destroyers kind of just trying to come in along this western side. And the destroyers are outgunned, at least, but with some assistance with even more summits and destroyers through the middle, they actually will get through, and there's really nothing to defend this western side. There's a lot of aircraft carriers under threat, possibly. ASFs can't target anything on the ground, so that doesn't work. This eastern side is Androish's main force, and to the east, dropping in more and more of the sub-hunters going after the torpedo launchers here in the water. But there's a lot of destroyers here that have their own torpedoes on them, and just constantly building more and more of these torpedo launchers. Another nuke launches against Team 2. Actually, it's from Team 2, from the Innocents. And where is this one going after? It is going after... Oh, it's going way back. Going after this RASCOM facility that has no SMD loaded. That's going to be a good grab. Just reducing the enemy's ability to produce more RASCOMs. But look at all these destroyers. How many of them are there? That's a lot. That's a lot of destroyers. 170. And just in this group, how many of them are there? 70, so about half. And they're just going to run through. Zara called in to assist. They're going after the ASF producing units, which are, of course, the aircraft carriers. Kills a whole bunch of RASCOMs on this northern island. Not that Androish doesn't have a lot of RASCOMs to begin with, but, you know, a decent chunk is a decent chunk, and you got to get victories where you can. And these destroyers can take out aircraft carriers fairly quickly. Aircraft carriers don't really have a lot of defenses on them. At least to target units in the water. They can target units in the air, but not really anything in the water. And torpedo bombers over the top. They are going after destroyers, so a lot of the the torpedoes will miss due to the torpedo defense systems on the destroyers themselves. But another nuke is released from its silo to the south. Where is this one going? This one's going west. Oh, trying to deal with this position here. That's a lot of RASCOMs, but the order has been given to move, I think. No, they're not moving as of yet. Oh, now they're moving. Okay, it just took a second. And I think they'll get out of the way quickly. I think Androish notices his opponent is going after his RASCOMs directly. So he's trying to move them as best he can. How many will die in this exchange? We currently have 38. We now have 31, so he kills 7 of them. Not a whole lot, but a decent chunk, of course. You know, any bit is better than no bits, or any damage is better than no damage kind of thing. But destroyers coming along this eastern edge of the map here, trying to take out these facilities. We have crossed an hour, everyone. I appreciate everybody watching to this point. Of course, it is a long game, and it can be a lot to watch. That's why I speed up the beginning, just kind of help to get to the more of the action part, of course, because just sitting there watching people eco or play SimCity is not really that enjoyable. So I don't want to speed it up too quickly, not be able to talk about anything, but just enough to kind of just jumpstart us into this cast, of course. And it does look like a counter push will occur here with all of these omens. They're trying to cut off the, just bleeding of all of these destroyers to the west. And there is enough to stop this push. There's a lot here for Androish. He's just lining. Definition of layered defense is Androish, just lines and lines of omens and tempests and just a couple of destroyers, and now he's pushing that advantage severely here. Summits are being eradicated as fast and as quickly as they were probably built, and the tempests as well are being the main targets. The omens stop moving, and now all fire at the same time, going after everything in the vicinity. Kind of pushing to the west. There's a lot of summits here. Again, I am surprised Androish hasn't built any sort of artillery yet. He does have the mass for it and has so many omens. My friend, you have 153 omens. That's so many. 24 tempests. Not as many. But 153 omens, and you're not just going Control A in I forget what the move or the kill order move is, but just going right click. Okay, everyone go here and kill everything in your path kind of thing. They're not doing that for some reason, and I don't know why, because they probably could just walk and kill everything. More torpedo bombers here to the east. Maybe he doesn't want to rely on game enders and that kind of thing, which is fair, especially in a Phantom game where you have 150 plus Omen battleships. That's, again, so many. But again, maybe he doesn't want to rely on salvations like his other Phantom buddy did. But we have another nuke loaded here. each in the silo here for Nick. He has a couple of nukes to use. He's not using them to take out naval units. He's using them to take out infrastructure and RASCOMs. And honestly, I think that's the better move. Oh, now we're seeing, okay, hold on. Now we're seeing some silencer strategic missile submarines. It looks like Androish is going for mass and nukage. Does Team 2 or the Innos have a counter to this? I see a Maver being built fairly quickly, considerably, and that could be an interesting play. That's the second game ender, second type of game ender in the game. Of course, there was one Paragon, almost a second one built here to the west, here for Themo. Spy plane missions going on, trying to get a nice readout of what's going on. Frigates and destroyers trying to puncture this eastern side. They've taken out a lot of facilities, and those look like a line of Tempest is the order of the day. This one not moving, kind of being stuck by the geometry of all the different units and defense systems and whatnot. But it does look like the Innocents are pushing back against Androish in the water. They were about here, and now they're here. So slow movement, you know, something is better than nothing. Another nuke will land. Oh, now he... Oh, that is going to be a good nuke. It's going to probably get 10 or so with one nuke. That is definitely worth the price of a nuke. Probably will clip some hit points off of a Tempest. And I'm going to make all the little windows go away so we can get a nice little view of what's going on. We see the nuke. The nuke's coming in. Get a nice little angle. And kaboom! Takes out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that was 12 with a couple of clipping damage on other units. Another nuke will launch. Where is this one going? It's going to land. Oh, that's an attack order. That's not what I want. Where's the nuke going? Oh, it's going to the west. Where is this one going? Going to this group, maybe? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Well, that'll be another nuke landed. We have a bunch of these Vesper sub-hunters. It looks like Nick is taking a page out of Androish's book. Takes out 2, 4, 6, 7 of them, so about half of the group of Omens to the west. So now he's using nukage in the water. Summits are being eradicated by Omens. Omens are being eradicated by Vespers. Vespers taking out Vespers. Tempest trying to stave off any incoming threats. We have destroyers in the mix. We have anything and everything that Team Innocent can throw at them. I would like to see some bulwark shields. That would be really nice to help supplement this fleet, just to kind of protect the Tempest and the other units from a lot of the torpedo threats. Another nuke gets launched here from this facility to the south here for Nick. Where is this one going? Well, it's going to the west. It's going to take out this group of destroyers. Not really worth it. Essentially, you want to take out... I mean, the nukes are important to take out a lot of hit points, but it's like... I feel like you should target other things. Like, you're targeting Tempest, essentially, and they can tank a hit. Like, they don't die in one hit from what I remember. I think a direct hit might kill one. But this one will be a direct hit because it hasn't moved in a minute. Yeah, it takes out 1, 2, 3 of them and pretty much weakens another one. So I think, what is that? Maybe... Oh, this one did have some veterancy on it, so that might have helped. And I think it might kill a pristine, right off the line Tempest, but if it has a couple ranks of veterancy, it won't kill it out in one shot. I think, let's see, they start with 60,000. I think they do 70,000 damage as a nuke, because if you try to launch a nuke against a crab, it doesn't kill it in one shot, it takes 2 of them. I think crabs start with 110,000 hit points. So I think it ends with 35, 40,000. So maybe it's 75,000 damage on those nukes, at least the standard nukes out of the silos, not the subs or the YOLO. But you don't see a YOLO in this game because all the Seraphims are dead. So that's always disappointing. I think last Phantom game I casted, we saw, I think it was a Maver. Hey, we didn't see a Scathis because maybe we did. Maybe we saw all 4. I can't remember. It's been a minute since I've done that game. That's why I thought I would do a Phantom game. You know, Friday the 13th. You know, Halloween, very spooky Phantoms. But I like Phantom games, so I figured why not? This is the perfect time to do them. Do one of these casts. But man, it's just we're kind of in a stalemate essentially here to the east, where it's just both teams are just throwing whatever they have, and it's just, yeah, they get some gains and then they, you know, push forward and then they lose it and they fall back, and it's not really, there's no like forward momentum consistently in either direction. You could say there's a little bit of forward momentum for the Innocents on this eastern side, but then you see all of the incoming plasma fire and you go, oh, maybe not. But now we have Tempest hiding underneath the water from these other Tempests, and now the Tempest will pop out of the water and just get annihilated by a bunch of plasma shots from these Omens. The Top Gun will pop open fairly quickly, launch its first salvo, but look, half of its hit points are already gone. And this Tempest is gone. This one is gone. It's trying to get a nice target on somebody, but it just doesn't get a shot off in time. It does look like subs are definitely the way to go here for both teams. We see a Zara coming in over the top. This is what killed Thema with a bunch of just drops. Okay, I thought that was artillery, but those are just Omens. A bunch of... Oh, there's even more Zaras down here. They're going after anything and everything they can. Maybe they're going after the Maver that just finished. That's a lot of mass. They launched an attack on the main island. Didn't even take out the nuke launcher. Took out a gateway, but that's about it. Zar, one more over the top. There is a decent amount of AA presence. And the shield will fall fairly quickly. What is it? Oh, I guess it was targeting something, and then it was ground firing by accident. I don't know why it's just standing the ground, floating the ground firing, but it will fall. But yeah, that's a lot of dead Zars in the water. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 9? That's a lot of Zars, and I completely missed that. Apologies for that, but neither of the comms here for the Innocents were killed off in that exchange. An hour 15, and I have it at +1 just to kind of speed this game up a tiny bit. And we have a -1 game balance. Yeah, this game, it's a mod. It can't calculate it as well. The Maver has now started puncturing Androish's main base. Another nuke launches. It looks like they're going after the SMD. There's no SMD on this main island, and the nuke will fall short going after the Omens. I mean, that's also a good grab too in the naval side of things, but you could have taken out a lot of that main base with that nuke. This one will land, taking out another like 6 with a couple of destroyers mixed in there as well. Prompts a push here to deal with more and more Omens to the west. Both Nick and Winter have just pushed Androish back. It's pretty much Phantom has control of the middle of the map, so more than 50% to the north, of course, and then a couple percentage down here further south of that horizontal equator. But impacts the shield, takes out a decent amount of hives and a gateway. Takes out more and more structures as we speak. Where's the comm of Androish? Well, he was here at some point. Oh, he's over here to the west, so just in the middle of the water. He does have the teleporter on his comm, so he can move around very quickly. Another nuke launch. Where is this one going? It's going all the way back to the main base. We'll take out the air facility and the land facility. Not that that was really even used. But the Maver taking out naval emplacements. This is gonna hurt Androish a little bit with access to technology. I don't think you need the T3 air headquarters to build ASF for the aircraft carriers. I don't think so, but we have all of these silencers, and they are almost done loading. The nuke will land. This is gonna hurt the main base and a couple of strat bombers that have been built. But they gave the order to move. Is it enough? Where'd the nuke go? Oh, wait, the nuke got shot out of the sky? What the? Wait, there isn't a... Hold on, I'm confused. Oh, it went all the way in the back line. Okay, I was like, I thought it was going here. Aircraft carriers were the target with a bunch of supporting destroyers. I mean, yeah, you're diminishing Androish's ability to produce air units, but you still have all of these to deal with. Oh my. 439 skimmers. That is so many. And you can load them in Zars if you really wanted to. That is so many here for Androish. That's like and a bunch of T3 strat bombers as well. So he's going to make a huge push here in the water here pretty soon. That is a lot. Cruisers, SAM sites, shields, and prayers. That's pretty much what Nick has available to him to deal with all of these air units. All of what I mentioned and a bunch of prayers. Yep, that's pretty much it. But Omens just being shot at by a bunch of Tempests. Tempests are being like pretty much the main unit here for both of our innocents. Our main innocent player of Nick. ASF's coming to the top to distract a lot of that incoming threat. I don't know where they're going. They also have some Zars as well. Do they have a target in mind? They're just given a target order of just, you know, whatever. SAM sites have been built a plenty here, and a lot of air units will die off. Looks like the Zars are going for the Maver directly. Both the comms here for the Innocents are nearby. They got to get into the water. Winter notices the threat, starts to back up into the water. The Zars are still pushing forward. The Strat Bombers are coming in. They're starting to puncture the shields. One of the Zars falls. The Zars aren't getting close. Another Zar falls. They take out the comm of Winter. Nick survives. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. And one more Zar will fall. Does not get close to the Maver. Unfortunately, that doesn't matter because that will die off here pretty quickly. Yep, all of that explodes. So yeah, maybe just Nick built those. That's weird. But now it's just Nick versus Androish. He loses the Maver, but honestly, the Maver had dealt a lot of the damage to the main island, so and eliminated a lot of the naval facilities here. Takes out one that was building as well. So many RASCOMs. That's a lot of RASCOMs. How many RASCOMs are on the field currently here for Androish? He has 238 versus Nick's 198. So is it 298, right? Yeah, so it's 100 more RASCOMs than his opponent, and that's almost double the eco. It's close to double. But destroyers have punctured the front line. Not really going to get a whole lot of work done, though. Nick thinking to himself, I got out of there. His shield did get hit, though, so he wasn't completely immune, but did survive. Couple scrapes and bruises, but nothing too bad. A nuke gets launched here from Team 2 from Nick. And the comm of Androish is in the top left-hand corner of the screen, up here over in the corner, so it's going to be kind of hard-pressed to find him up there. But spy planes are trying to find the comm. There's so many naval units and units underneath the water, it's hard to figure out where he is, essentially. You can see what Nick can see. SACU spam. He's right over here. The comm is right over here. Does Androish notice that there are spy planes? I mean, he knew something flew over, but the nuke does land. He takes out a huge group of RASCOMs. That is a huge explosion. Androish had almost 300, and now he has a huge amount. Nuke goes off, tries to go after Nick, almost clips him, but he gets out of there just in time. Does kill off some RASCOMs as well. That's a really weird effect in the water, though. Takes out a couple of naval facilities as well. But the switch has gone from T3 Omens to T2 Exodus class destroyers. They are weaker, and it does look like the shift to that on both players is the focus. Unfortunately, the disadvantage here for Androish is that here's a bunch more Tempests still online. Oh, we have 2 nukes launched from the silencers. Where are they going? They're still going after the comm. The comm's got to move. Comm's got to move. Where you going, Nick? You got to move. But he has some SMD to guard him. He still has 7 more loaded. That's where all those nukes came from. The push is, he knows where Androish knows where the comm is. Yep, he can see it. He knows where he is. And torpedoes launch against him. Doesn't know any of the upgrades on the comm, though. Doesn't know that he probably notices he has the shield since his hit points didn't go down. But now the ASF and torpedo bomber launches have commenced. And now they're going to target anything in their wake. I think they're going after the silencers specifically, and this is not going to go well for them. They aren't super strong. You know, a couple of torpedo bombers can kill them. They kill one as it deploys its nuke. That's got to hurt. A lot of them are being eradicated as we speak. Half of them are gone now. ASF over the top here for Androas tries to deal with them. They will stave off the rest of the incoming threat. Nukes launched. They take out a couple of hit points for those Tempests, knowing that the SMD are loaded, or at least they still have some loaded at least. But Destroyers actually getting a lot more work done because they are faster and able to get into the main battle lines. But with the large lines of torpedo launchers being spammed up, it really doesn't matter, because even if they get close, oh look, another nuke gets launched. This one will be covered. It's going to be fairly close, but there's 5 of them. They're going for the Tempests. Will both of these silos take them out? 1, 2, 3, 4. Was one get? Yeah, all of them do get destroyed. The silencers probably should fall back, but it's too late. They are all eradicated. Nice attempt here from Androsis to use the silencers, but we see a large large just group of torpedo bombers incoming. Where are they going after the comm? I think they are. The comm has to get onto land. He notices the threat inbound. Is it going to be too late? You know, there is a lot of AA coverage here next to him, but a lot of bombers are going to get through that coverage. He's going to try to hide underneath the naval facility. They impact the aircraft carrier. A lot of them were dealt with. You can see the amount of damage for that Kiefer class aircraft carrier. Another round, a wave comes in. He's hiding underneath the structure, and that's mitigating a lot of the threat. His shield has completely evaporated, though. The comm going for an upgrade as we speak. Maybe what is he building? Maybe a teleporter, maybe, just to get out of there. But that was that would have killed him had he not gone underneath the T3 headquarters here with the aircraft carrier protecting him. Another nuke is launched. And where is this going? Well, it's going into the main lines of building Czars. But the comm of Androas still in the top left-hand corner of the map. A lot of the naval pressure has been evaporated here for Androas. He has relatively nothing. There's a couple of Tempests to the west, a couple of destroyer facilities to the west. This nuke will launch. He's trying to build as many Czars and just crash them on his opponent, probably. This nuke, of course, no SMD to protect it. We'll take out another section of RASCOMs. That's got to hurt. RASCOMs are trying to evacuate as fast as they can. More Tempests are being pushed against that front line. But it does look like Androas just says, look, I'm done. There's no cracking your defenses. And he decides to vacate. And that is the end to an hour-plus long video. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I know sometimes the beginning of the Phantom games are a little bit boring, so hopefully I kept it a little bit entertaining for everyone. And of course, if you enjoyed the video or enjoyed anything about it, whether it be my commenting, visuals, whatever the case may be, please let me know down in the comments. And if there's anything I can improve on, let me know as well. I am open to feedback, of course. Again, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Enjoy your Fridays, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. And I will see all of you wonderful people who love naval matches in the next one.